Welcome everybody to I'll Be Right Back, the show where we take a look at a horror movie, and we have a new Quiet Place movie out, Peter. Quiet Place Day 1. So we thought we'd take a look at the original A Quiet Place.
I'm hyper for this new movie coming out. It's a little while since I'd watched this first installment in the franchise, and it was really interesting to go back and rewatch it.
I absolutely love this film. I think it has an amazing premise, and I remember hearing the idea and thinking that was great. I went to see it in the cinema and I was just absolutely blown away. It's probably like the best delivery of a concept in a film. Like we've seen it, I think lately especially, a lot of really great ideas and the film just doesn't live up to that, but this I think absolutely uses that concept to the fullest.
I absolutely friggin' adored this movie from start to finish, and I have to say I was an emotional wreck. You could take the dinosaur monster alien creature things out of this and it would still be a friggin' amazing heart-wrenching film just about loss and a family dynamic and guilt over the death of a child, all of that kind of stuff. It's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I think the family aspect is definitely the strongest in this film. It's the core of it, and that's where the heart is. And yeah, there's some really beautiful scenes with the characters and some really heartbreaking moments as well. So
obviously I've seen this before, but it was still just as hard in terms of emotional punch. The experience of the no dialogue, the no speaking, the anticipation of something but we don't know what is going to happen at that point. Imagine having seen this film without having seen any trailers. So you go in fresh and that first attack is completely new to you. I just think it's a masterpiece in suspense and eeriness, hairs on the back of your neck.
Absolutely, it's so tense and sets the scene. You don't know what they're hiding from, and I remember the trailers were very coy about that. But then just like when it snatches the kid, it's just like, oh my god, horrific. So a little bit of background about the movie. It's written by Brian Woods and Scott Beck, who came up with the idea while in college together. They wrote the script with Emily Blunt in mind for the mother. John Krasinski was sent the script for the father role, saying the story of parents protecting their children resonated with him due to himself and Blunt, who are married in real life, just having had their second child. Blunt suggested Krasinski pitch to direct the film after hearing his vision for it, which Platinum Dune producers accepted. I just think it's so clever, like the way the family know ASL, so like they obviously like the most equipped kind of people to, they can communicate still with each other without kind of raising the alarm. Having a deaf character I think is a really clever idea because they're like sort of at a disadvantage, like they can't tell when something has attracted them, and I think that's so well utilized in the film. I love the fact that in the shop at the beginning the potato chips aisle is full because like people can't take crisps because it's going to attract noise. I just think like little details like that I think are just incredible.
I wouldn't have stood a chance because I'm a crisp fiend. I would have been straight there. No monsters keeping me away from me cheese and onion walkers, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I would have been straight. Oh, you have potatoes over your neck of the wood, don't you? Taties or something. Got potatoes?
Potatoes. I mean, I'd be screwed immediately because I snore like a bastard. I'm dead the first night, yeah.
Yeah, you're horrific, mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we just touch on the cast here? Because I think this is probably one of the most brilliant casts I've seen on film, because literally every single character does the job of making us like them for what they, apart from that prick who screams and tries to kill them all.
That was weird. Like, I love it's a good shock, like when they're walking and you just see him in the back, it's like, oh my god, because we've not actually seen any other people this entire time up to that point. But I was confused at what the situation was there. Like, did an alien kill the wife and he's just been stood there in shock, or did he kill her by mistake or something like that?
You see, I went dark. I thought he'd killed his wife and then was just mental and screamed because he didn't care anymore. But what a dick. Do you know what I mean? Literally in that world, as we've seen in this film and the second film, there's not a lot of people around. So that bloke's been stood there probably a few days just waiting for someone to walk past. Bit of a belly.
I mean, if you're gonna go, take someone with you, I think.
Wow. Yeah. Remind me never to stand next to you when there's a crisis point or something.
Absolutely not. I'll shove you in the way to get an extra 2 seconds head start. I think the characters, the performances in this are fantastic. John Krasinski pulling double duty here, directing and starring as the father character. Just amazing. He makes me feel safe, I think he inhabits like a father role so well in this.
Some might say he's fantastic.
Not anymore. Yeah.
No, you're right.
It's weird because like I'd only seen him in The Office. I think most people had only seen him in The Office prior to this, so like seeing him take on this kind of serious role really wasn't expecting it. And I love when you see actors kind of out of their typecast.
And Emily Blunt in this is just phenomenal. And there's a scene in this that reminds us of an awful friggin' film we watched recently, The Strangers, where she puts her hand on the nail, and it was just kind of like, oh yeah, she's put her hand.
Now The Strangers chapter 1 you're referring to, not the original Strangers, which is great.
Not the original, Whereas in this, I mean, it's telegraphed, you know it's coming, but when she understood in it. It was just stunningly acted and performed. I felt the pain, whereas with The Strangers, I couldn't give a rat's ass. Do you know what I mean? But this was just beautiful, I thought.
That might be a product of actually caring about the characters though. I think
absolutely.
I think Emily Blunt is the standout of this movie. Like that entire sequence where she's God love her. She goes into labor, steps on the nail, and then she has to move around, and then like the basement floods and the creatures in the house. It's just so incredible.
Bad parents, these guys, aren't they? Pretty shitty parents. Having a baby in the apocalypse where monsters are attracted to sound and they think, oh, I'll tell you what, let's pop out a little nipper because they're quiet. Wear a rubber.
I mean, they're probably hard. They're probably hard to find. How do you even? Yeah.
Hard to find. He had a friggin' room full of electronics to make sound cannons and shit like that. You're telling us he couldn't have found a plastic bag and an elastic plaster or something to stick it on?
That's a fair point. But also, how do you do any jiggy in this world when
jiggy?
No
Very
one can
quietly.
make noise?
Very quietly. Yeah. I'll be fine, mate. My wife makes no noise when I do it, so yeah, it'll be no problem.
Like, I remember seeing this in cinema and having popcorn, and I couldn't eat the popcorn because the movie's so quiet. But just like those moments of loudness in it, like when the lamp smashes and there's just that kind of shock and everybody freezes, you know, it's just, it's great. And just the use of sound in the film is so good. Like, I think there's a really beautiful dance scene between Emily Blunt and John Krasinski where she has the ear pod and she puts it in his ear. I thought that was gorgeous. Seeing the daughter, the deaf perspective, there's a bit where she's kind of walking up and the creature's behind her and she has no idea. I thought that was amazing as well. And like whenever it cuts to her.
Just speaking of her, you know, John I don't do names. Krasinski.
Once it has more than two syllables, you write it off pretty much at that stage.
I'm screwed. John Krasinski, he fought for a deaf actress to take on that part, and I think I'm so pleased he did because it makes it authentic. Going back to the soppy side of things, Jesus, my heart broke at the end where he looks at her across the field and signs, you know, I love you.
I love you. I always have. Yeah. Oh, just beautiful.
Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just.
Speaking of Niagara Falls, the waterfall scene I think is awesome as well. That kind of moment where we can speak now. This moment of kind of normality in there I think is great as well.
But I love how genuinely terrified the young son is. He doesn't want to leave the house. He doesn't want to adventure because he's seen what happens. He's shit scared, you know, as he should be. Just a brilliant scene. I loved it.
I love that, and I love how it's the opposite case with the daughter where she wants to go out to the world and he kind of doesn't trust her to do that because the last time it happens, you know, it's something. I know, like, it could be annoying to have a kid character who's having a tantrum in like a situation as serious as this where she's like storms off and runs away and stuff, but I think you understand it. And then when you see when she goes to visit the brother's grave, I think that was like, okay, I'm with you now.
What did you think of the creature design? Because I thought they looked scary as fuck. I mean, the weird long kind of floppy arms I thought were just stunning.
Amazing. I love it. It's iconic to me now. I think there's elements of like a xenomorph and other kind of alien creatures you see. Just the way the face flaps when it's kind of using like the screaming, the face flaps.
I love that. Face flaps.
Do you know what I mean?
We use that word up in Newcastle, but it's for something
of
totally
course,
different.
yeah. But like the pulsing kind of the face and the ears and just the way it moves, how fast it is, and I think they tease it out the reveal so well in this. Like you kind of catch glimpses of it throughout. They're terrifying. Like the moment when Emily Blunt realizes one's in the house, she's kind of gonna go up the stairs, and then one passes the doorway. It's just like, oh my god, you know. Or in the flooding scene when it's in the water, it's just like ugh. So,
genuinely scary creatures, and I think it's the look of them. I think it's a really interesting creature design, but it's also the speed of them. I mean, you hear them running, you know, like a friggin' herd of creatures, and then going back to the scene on the bridge, it just jumps and grabs the kid and that's it, done.
They're strong as well. They can rip open doors, no problem at all, you know, so like they really do feel like unbeatable. I like the twist that the daughter's hearing aid is like their weakness. That's a really clever element as well. And just the sort of the weird kind of action sting you get at the very end where Emily Blunt cocks the shotgun. It felt very kind of Evil Dead Ash sort of style. I thought that was great as well. I love it.
I love that arc for her, because up till now she's been saying things to John Krasinski, you know, about, you know, you need to protect our family, you need to defend our family, and at the end it's shown that actually she's just as capable and she's a badass and she's ready to go out there and do what needs to be done.
Yeah, 100%. So love that. A little bit of trivia about the movie. Krasinski's contributions to the story include the use of sign language, sand pats, the lights, and the walk to the forest and the pharmacy. That sounds to me like most of the movie, to be honest. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thought that was really clever as well, because at first I didn't understand what the kind of the sand was for. And then I kind of thought, well, actually, I think it's more for the deaf daughter, because she can't hear if she's walking over floorboards and things like that, what creaks and what doesn't creak.
I didn't even think of that. I
just
thought it was
shows-
more so to muffle their footsteps, really, like around the kind of area. For the first test screenings of the film, audience members laughed in scenes with the creature present, as the CGI for the creature was either not finished or completely absent, leaving John Krasinski in a motion capture suit for scenes where he played the monster. Further screenings were well received once the CGI was done. Can you release that version, please? Like, you're just not gonna capture what's special about this film with like unfinished, bad-looking monsters in it, you know?
I mean, why would you even bother?
And lastly, during the writing process, a producer at Paramount suggested the film take place in the Cloverfield universe. I could see that. I think this has sort of like 10 Cloverfield Lane, feels very much like it could have been a Quiet Place movie as well, you know?
Yeah, I'm kind of happy with them being two separate entities.
Oh, absolutely,
I
so am I,
absolutely see
yeah.
it crossing over.
No, I'm happy it's not, because I like Quiet Place is its own beast now. Like, I would argue bigger and better than Cloverfield is. There's only really one good Cloverfield movie in my opinion. So the future of this franchise there was a Quiet Place Part 2 in 2020. Cillian Murphy, I think, stars as the male lead in that one, Gina Hansel's supporting role. I remember loving it just as much as this one. I think the opening sequence in that film is probably the best thing in the series. Like that
Baseball game, is
the
it?
baseball game and the aliens fall for the first time. It's just like, oh my god, you know. And I remember thinking at the time, we should get a whole movie of that, and we are now with A Quiet Place Day 1, so like that's going to be cool to see as well.
Obviously seen Quiet Place 2, but I'm struggling to remember a great deal about it. I seem to remember it being in some kind of underground silos or something. We'll have to watch that one, James, because I can't remember a great deal about that. And I'm in a mood now for Quiet Place, so I'd like to go back and watch that one.
I want to watch it again because I know Jimon Hounsou, who's in Day 1, is the same character as in Part 2, so I want to, because I don't remember what happened to him or anything, so who that character is. So there is a Quiet Place 3 in the works as well. It's due for release 2025, but I imagine it's not started filming yet. Probably 2026. Krasinski is coming back to direct, so that'll cap off this trilogy, so I'm really stoked for that.
Excited.
And then there was a video game just announced recently, so this is like a first person kind of Outlast style thing where you have to go around not making noise. So I'd imagine you're going to do a video on that because you love your little don't make any noises thing.
What's that? Jesus. Killed by a fucking moose.
I hope it links into your microphone the way that game did.
Oh, like that scary one.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
So, any final thoughts on A Quiet Place?
This is my kind of my sweet spot for horror, I guess. It's horror, sci-fi and drama all mixed into one. I think it's a perfect combination of all of those kind of areas that I enjoy. Perfect cast, brilliant performances, excellent creature effects, genuinely scary scenes. What's not to love? It's one of my favourites, to be honest. I love it.
For me, it's near flawless. It's terrifying, it's heartfelt, it's amazing performances, great creature design, great effects, great sound design. Like, I really don't have a single issue with the film at all. So yeah, stellar. I assume then it's better than Willy's Wonderland.
Pains us to say it, but absolutely. But James, imagine Nick Cage in A Quiet Place as the guy from Willy's Wonderland. He would kick ass, because we know he doesn't speak, so he'd just be wandering around with his, his janitor's stick or whatever the hell it was, kicking the shit out of these long-armed freaks.
That's
wouldn't
actually,
he?
it's annoying how that fits so well, because he doesn't speak, does he? He doesn't make any noises.
And obviously he's naked. Obviously he's naked.
Well, of course, because your clothes make noise. You know, I would have gone with the world's been taken over by a load of naked Nick Cages that are attracted to sound, but I like your idea too.
Multiple naked cages. James, I need to log off and go and spend some time alone.
Okay, yeah. And that's I'll Be Right Back on A Quiet Place. Thank you so much for watching. We have multiple episodes of I'll Be Right Back on different films up on the channel, and we review all the latest horror movies in the cinema. So if you enjoyed this, leave a like, subscribe. Don't forget to check out One Good Scare live every second Friday, and we'll be right back next time with...
What? Are you alright?
No.
Never, under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.